welcome everybody to this quick little short bonus recap, news, whatever you want to call it, episode. We'll make it fairly quick, just a couple of stories to talk about in the news, a little race recap real quick. Had a pretty busy race weekend, so let's hit it and get some of this stuff covered. First thing I want to talk about, the IndyCar TV deal. I don't know how we're all feeling about that. I know there's mixed feelings with a lot of people, and I'm one of those. After obviously a lot of negative comments and negativity towards the Fox NASCAR coverage through the first half of the season, are we going to see the same kind of quality out of it? The IndyCar coverage? Is IMS Productions going to help that out? Penske Entertainment going to be involved? There's a lot to it, right? And I think anybody who watched this last weekend's NASCAR race on NBC can agree that it's quite a bit better production. Seems like all the on-track action was caught. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to look at between the two NBC and Fox deals. Sounds like the over-the-air free network coverage for 19 events, when you include qualifications for Indy 500 and that, is a good thing. I mean, I agree. If you're at home and you've got a regular cable setup, that's great. The problem with Fox being you can't always watch live on the app. Even I've been down this road trying to stay up on the NASCAR coverage, and even a Sunday race that shows live, free over the air, which is fine. But if somebody's out, say at work doing something where they're allowed to check it out and follow the race, but have other obligations too, and just use your mobile device to stream the race, it's not always a great option going with the Fox deal. So we'll see what they do with that. It's going to be pretty interesting. Sounds like for the actual sport of it, for the league, it's going to be a good thing because you get full network coverage. Obviously, Peacock was a little different. You had different kind of coverages there you had to deal with. I guess I should say NBC coverage, but you could get it all on Peacock. But the nice thing is you could watch qualifying. You could watch, the NXT races, all that stuff on the Peacock app, which you could have a smart TV on your phone, anything, and never miss a single IndyCar thing with the price tag of $6 a month or whatever, $6.99 for premium. That's hard to beat. So we'll see what happens with Fox and what they can come up with on that. Will they improve their app coverage? And their app's kind of messy, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if anybody's used it, but trying to use the Fox Sports app is kind of messy. So we'll see how that goes. It sounds like NXT and qualification, practice events, all the miscellaneous things, they're still going to run coverage, but it'll be on Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2. So unless you have that included in your cable package, you won't be able to stream those things or watch the full replays, from my understanding. And that's been my experience personally with the NASCAR side of things. So we'll see what they do there. Next thing is, who are they going to put in the booth? Who's going to call these races? Are they going to carry over some IMS guys? Are we going to, obviously I don't think we're going to see Lee Diffie. He's pretty locked into all the NBC coverage, and they've got enough to keep him busy either way. So what are we going to see there? Obviously everybody wants to see Townsend and Hinch. We'll see what they do. I don't know what their contracts look like. I don't know that anybody's really talked about it. I'm sure they're working out negotiations and deals. Are we going to see a whole bunch of new faces and have to get used to a new style of coverage along with the new network? It's going to be different. Obviously, we made the jump from ABC years ago, NBC, ESPN. I mean, they've all had their hands in it at one time or another, and they've all kind of traded off, but it'll be different in this little fast-moving world. So moving on from that, during that same announcement, IndyCar brought up the 2025 schedule, looking pretty consistent to this year. NXT also looking pretty consistent. A couple of differences. Thermal Club will now be a points race, so that'll be kind of interesting because some guys were really strong there that haven't been strong on other tracks, so that might shake up the first part of the year on the championship hunt. So we'll see how that goes. So here's the schedule. Overall, you've got March 2nd, St. Petersburg Street Course. March 23rd, Thermal Club. April 13th, back to the streets of Long Beach. May 4th, Barber Motorsports. May 10th, Indy Road Course. Obviously, month of May is pretty stacked. It's kind of interesting. Barber fell into that month of May, so that'll be interesting. I'm sure a lot of carryover from May 4th to May 10th on those cars. Obviously, May 25th, Indy 500. With the additional Fox coverage over the air, which will be nice for those people who have the antennas or have a cable provider and all that. June 1st, Streets of Detroit. Doesn't sound like they're going to change anything there, but it's too early to tell. it's locked into the same course as of right now, which obviously was exciting this year in its own ways. June 15th, Worldwide Technology Raceway. June 22nd, Road America. July 6th, Mid-Ohio. July 12th and 13th is the Iowa doubleheader. July 20th, Streets of Toronto. July 27th, Laguna Seca, doing a doubleheader there. And then August 10th, Portland. And what do we got? August 24th, Milwaukee Mile. August 31st, season-ending Nashville Speedway. NXT is also pretty much on that same schedule with obviously the Saturday runnings, Saturday quals, Sunday. NXT's on that same kind of schedule with the earlier race like they have been. The only difference is they will not be at the Thermal Club, Streets of Long Beach, the Indy 500, or the Streets of Toronto. So aside from that, their schedule looks pretty consistent from what I can see. Let's see. Yeah, they got St. Pete, Barber, Indy Road Course. So they're doing the doubleheader at the Indy Road Course, so that's where they make up that other race. So May 9th and 10th for NXT. 1st, 15th, 22nd, 6th. Yeah, so overall looks pretty consistent. They're not doing the doubleheader at Iowa, but they are doing a doubleheader at Laguna Seca. And they'll finish out in Nashville along with regular season. Other news in the IndyCar world. It's looking like Canapino's been announced that he will be back for the remainder of the season after missing Road America, where Nolan Siegel took his place. That puts Siegel back in NXT for a run at the championship. So thoughts there for everybody. We'll just see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot of tension in that organization. Long term, where are they going to be with stuff? What's going to happen? Is Canapino going to be assigned for another year? Obviously, in his market, in his country, he's the greatest thing in motorsports. But are they getting the results? Are the championship points going to be there? It'd be kind of interesting to see. Catherine Legg has been announced that she will definitely drive the remaining ovals in the Dale Coyne number 51, which that's great news for her. Obviously, her part from sports cars for the time being opened that time up for her, and that's a good way for Dale Coyne to make sure he gets some points on those cars, if nothing else. She's very consistent in ovals, so that's good to see. Also, best of luck. She was testing at Pikes Peak I believe she was in the Acura, so that's good for her. Hopefully that goes well. Milwaukee hybrid test. Let's talk about that for a second. Overall, timing and scoring looked pretty decent. Once everybody had their gears under them and figured out, you had Penske at a 1, 2, and 3, so podiumed out, if you will, at the hybrid test. But the other cool thing was David Malukas, since he's back in the MSR ride, he was in the top 5 during testing for the hybrid, so that's good to see, and that's pretty awesome because that'll be the setup that they have going into that race, and that's what he'll be running. So pretty awesome to see. Welcome back, Malukas. Good to see you back in a car. There was also a tire and hybrid test at Nashville. Obviously doing some Firestone testing there. There was rumors that Award might have had a banged up car at the end of that. I haven't seen any coverage on that so much other than a quick little snippet on formerly known as Twitter, X. So I don't know on that one. If anybody's got any info on that, reach out. But obviously he's our rider. We would have heard more about it. But rough for crashing out in a test, doing what Kyle Busch did at Indy the other day. In NASCAR news, sadly, Martin Truex Jr. is set to retire from full-time driving. That one sucks. He's the winningest driver in the current field and possibly in the last 20 years or something like that. Very consistent. Joe Gibbs Racing is going to have pretty big seat to fill with that one. He said he's still interested, but going to retire from full-time driving. So what does that mean? Does it mean some Xfinity stuff? Hamlin made a great announcement saying, hey, you're more than welcome to run a 2311 car at Daytona. I'll have a car ready for you. So maybe that'll be a cool little one-off project. Obviously, those two have been teammates for years and years. So that's pretty awesome. Moving from there, I guess we should kind of take our guesses as to who's going to replace him in that JGR car. I honestly, looking at their Xfinity lineup, it's just super stacked. So it could really be anybody, but I guess we'll see what they come up with. Hopefully they make some announcements in the next few weeks, but I have a feeling it'll probably be a more end of the year type deal so everybody stays focused on their current path if they are going to pull somebody from Xfinity off that team. So I guess we'll wait for more on that. And we'll recap some racing. We had Knoxville World of Outlaws. Pretty awesome. You had You had the high limit sprints there with the World of Outlaws. Had a lot of good things going on. Friday night's feature, Kyle Larson, David Gravel having a good battle back and forth. Obviously, both all-stars in their own ways. And then Larson takes the lead and grenades a motor, so he's done for the night. Gravel was able to secure the lead with a few laps to go and gets the Friday night feature win. Then Saturday night, Larson again, he starts towards the back end of the field, a little past midway, I guess, 13th, and he ends up working his way up to third, so gaining 10 spots over the feature laps. And the feature win goes to Corey Day, so congrats there. But yeah, really good racing, a lot of professionals. You can tell the guys that are masters of their craft. It's pretty awesome overall, so that was awesome to see. And let's recap the inaugural Iowa race for the NASCAR Cup Series. And I guess before that is whole NASCAR weekend there. So Cup Series inaugural, Xfinity has raced there a few times in recent history. It's been a little bit, and then ARCA has been there a couple times. So we'll start off with the ARCA side. ARCA race winner Connor Zilich, Trackhouse Racing supported driver. Pretty cool. See Trackhouse getting the win in ARCA. I know there was a lot of excited people there for that race on Friday night, so that was awesome to see. Good for him. The Xfinity race was pretty exciting. It was kind of a lead into what the Cup cars were going to see with tire degradation and everything else. Stage 1, Chandler Smith. Stage 2, Chandler Smith again. And then working back and forth, Sam Mayer ends up taking over in the overtime win and getting that one for Junior Motorsports. So congrats to Sam Mayer on that. I know I believe he's had a pretty dry season for the most part, but he's back in it. And then, oddly enough, during the cooldown lap, there was a little drama. Riley Herbst bumps into Sam Mayer after the checkered flag and cuts down his left rear tire, so he's got to basically coast it back in and not tear up the car. So that was pretty wild to see. Guess he wasn't happy with how he's being raced or something like that. For the Xfinity race, I want to give a historic Hot Laps award for Sheldon Creed, the number 18 car. Best livery out there in the Xfinity side. That was a good looking car. Had that like 80s neon kind of vibe to it. Super awesome. So not that award is going to pay any bills for him, but congrats on that best livery award, historic Hot Laps opinion. And let's get to the Cup race. So the Cup race, you had Kyle Larson on pole by a little bit, and it seemed as the race started that he was definitely going to be the car to beat. And I think that was the case through the majority of the race until we talk about what happened after stage 2. But everybody's trying to figure out their setups and do their thing. Stage 1 goes to Ryan Blaney. He's looking really good. Focuses on track position and consistency. Kyle Larson makes some moves, keep it up front, gets the stage 2 win. And then during a restart in stage 3, Larson, in true Larson fashion, tries to make a good move, and this move works for him 90% of the time. Going 3 wide on that front stretch, and there was room. There's plenty of room for it in that area of the track. It wasn't trying to work guys up into the outside or anything like that. Trying to cut the middle. Suarez underneath him. Looked pretty clear for a minute. Kind of a little bit of a drag race. Suarez catches a wiggle. It puts his right front into the left rear of Larson, causing Larson to lose it, hit the wall, do a little bit of damage, ultimately ending his day, because that one they had to do the full pit process, take it back, fix it again. It was a whole thing. And then I believe they also had a too many men over the wall penalty, if I remember right. I might be crazy on that. But either way, Larson looking good stage 2, had the pole qualifying, gets taken out by Suarez, in my opinion, because it was a pretty clean move. He had room. Suarez was working his way up. Not something everybody had been doing on 3 wide, so I get it isn't consistent with what the rest of the field has been doing. But either way, you're going to race next to Larson. He's going to race you fairly clean most of the time. I mean, unless he has some sort of control issue with the car, but it's never his intention to damage anybody's car, including his own. So takes him out. Rough deal. Continue on. See a little bit of tire drama, a little bit here and there with that right front kind of scrubbing and losing it going into turns 1 and turn 3. It's kind of rough for some of those guys. A lot of days were ruined, I know. Busher had a good run, and then he lost it. A couple other guys were damaged by it, but overall, it is what it is. The fight kept going on. There was a good battle up front for a while. And then Blaney was getting a good lead on guys. He had a good strategy. Came in the last stop and took 2 tires, not 4. So fuel 2 tires. Praying he had enough fuel this time because we didn't want to see a repeat of the Gateway fuel mess that he had. But Ryan Blaney, second and a half ahead of everybody, starts catching lap traffic. Working through it, that track was great for that kind of action. And he ended up securing himself the inaugural win. Locks him into the playoffs. Congratulations to Blaney. He's had a couple of rough ones the last little bit. He should have had a Gateway win, but obviously that fell apart for him. And yeah, congrats. The cool thing is it's kind of a hometown track for him. It's where his folks are from. He had something like 80 people in the crowd in a section cheering for him. They all had the Blaney shirt matching, and super awesome. Dave, his dad, sprint car legend, comes out through the gap in the fence and helps him celebrate. It's just super awesome. So he's back in the hunt in the playoffs for another championship. So we'll see what he can do there. Overall playoff picture after that race, we're looking at secured in the playoffs currently Larson, Hamlin, Byron, Bell, Elliott, Reddick, Blaney, Keselowski, Suarez, Cindric, Truex Jr., Chastain, Gibbs, Bowman, Buescher. Wallace is 6 points above the cut line. And obviously we've got a lot of races left, a lot of race winners, so this could easily change. So we'll just see what happens. But Wallace 6 points above the cut line. Logano 6 points below the cut line with some time to go, obviously. And then, Busch is minus 36 points right now. So not great for Kyle, but there's still some season left. Hopefully he can get some stuff happening and go from there. We also had just a quick one. Le Mans 24-hour this last weekend. Ferrari AF Corse took the hypercar class. United Autosports took the LMP2 class, which number 3 driver was Nolan Siegel of Indy NXT, Indy 500, and part-time IndyCar status. So congratulations to Nolan on that. That's a huge thing to be on top at Le Mans. And last thing we'll touch on, I guess, while we're on the off week of IndyCar, championship standings. We haven't really covered much of that yet. So championship standings as they run right now: Will Power, Alex Palou, Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, Scott McLaughlin, Kyle Kirkwood, Colton Herta, Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi in 9th, and 10th place rounding out the top 10, Felix Rosenqvist. So a lot of season left, a lot of things can happen. Just a quick little rundown of what's going on in motorsports this week. As always, if you have anything, hit us up, email. We'll try to keep this going, try to keep the quality improving every week on this. If you have anything you want to talk about, let us know. historichotlapse@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Don't forget to follow us at Historic Hot Laps on X and all your other social platforms for the latest updates and sneak peeks into upcoming episodes. You can reach out to us directly at historichotlapse@gmail.com. Send us your feedback, questions, comments, opinions, and additional subject matter you'd like us to cover. Thanks for tuning in.